Good morning again at 6:55. We bring you back to our scene of breaking news. This is right in downtown Los Angeles. It is a bus versus a Metro Blue Line. Right now we want to bring in on the phone Brian Humphrey, LA City Fire. Brian, what led up to this accident? How did it happen?
Sarah, Suzanne, this is obviously a disquieting moment for rail passengers. What you're seeing is an incident that happened at 6:17 this morning when an MTA Metro Blue Line light rail train collided with one of that agency's buses. It's near the intersection of Washington Boulevard and Griffith Avenue, just south of downtown Los Angeles. Now, the good news for those just joining us this morning, no reports of any life-threatening injuries, though one of the rail cars did derail. We have only 13 patients identified thus far, all with minor injuries.
And Brian, from looking at this pictures from News Chopper 2 this morning, it definitely does look like it was the train that hit the bus, and now the train appears to be knocked right off the tracks.
Well, the train is derailed. At least one of the cars has derailed and slightly toppled to the side. The bus, thankfully, had no passengers on board. We were told just the operator at the time of the incident. And all of the people, again, have survived. Most are able to walk. All are awake. And, again, this is the best outcome we might hope from the collision with two mass passenger conveyances.
So now that we know that, Brian, that people are going to be okay from this, let's talk about the traffic, because obviously a very, very busy area, people trying to get in and out of downtown L.A. Any idea on how long it will take to clear the scene?
We would suggest people who normally come into downtown, who may get off the Harbor Freeway earlier and use side streets, to avoid the streets to the east of the Harbor Freeway, as they'll be very congested for the next few hours. This light rail train has to be rerighted, and of course there will be a formal investigation into the collision again between an MTA Metro Blue Line light rail train and one of that agency's passenger buses.
Looks like a pretty big response from the LA City Fire Department this morning. Have those 13 injuries been transported to the hospital, or do they not even need to go to the hospital this morning?
Not yet. The 13 minor injuries have been assessed. One person has been transported to an area hospital, and the others will determine momentarily whether they'd like to go. All are being offered transportation, but thankfully most have very minor injuries.
All right, Brian Humphrey, really helpful for us this morning. Thanks for getting on the phone with us. Right now, let's switch gears and go up to Alex Calder, because, Alex, as you heard Brian say, minor injuries here, but you can pull out and show us the snarled traffic right around the accident site.
Well, that's right. We're really seeing the traffic starting to build on all the side streets here. We took a look. Here's the details on this. The crash is at Washington and Griffith, which is about halfway between San Pedro and Central, and it is blocked in both directions between those two majors. If you're going to try to get into downtown, I would definitely recommend, really, you could use the 10, you could take the Harbor Freeway, any of the major side streets in this area, Pico, Venice, all those streets are going to work great. They are unobstructed right now, but definitely seeing a lot of heavy volume as people are trying to figure out how to get around this mess here on Washington. And again, a lot of ambulances making their way into the area right now. We're waiting to see if any other people get transported. Like Brian said, just one transporter right now, but we are seeing more ambulances working their way in. So certainly a mess here for commuters if you're trying to get into downtown LA. Back to you.
And really, Alex, just the last thing that commuters needed to see after last week's Metrolink crash. This has got to just make them more nervous as they got back to the Metrolink lines this week, and now this.
Most definitely. And by the way, that red rig you see right there, that's one of the LA City Fire heavy rescues. I'm sure they'll be trying to use that in conjunction with some other equipment to possibly try to get this train back on the tracks here. Like Brian mentioned, a big investigation ongoing here. This is going to be here for some time.
All right, Alex Calder over the scene of our breaking news story this morning, a Metro Blue Line train colliding with a bus. 13 minor injuries.
Again, that's right at Washington and Griffith, so you definitely want to avoid the east side of the 110 this morning, because that's going to be tied up for at least the next couple hours with clearing this accident.